Hello and welcome to my retro watches, and today we're going to be building a watch from a kit that's been supplied to me from a company called Namoki Mods. So I guess you could say this video is sponsored. Now, as the name suggests, Namoki Mods, they supply parts for modding your watches. So if you're running an NH movement or a Myota movement, then you can change the dials, the hands, the chapter rings, the cases, you name it, they do it. What they've sent me here in these 3 tins is a very retro looking watch, and well, this is my retro watches. It's how the channel started. I like the more wacky designs, and I think we're going to see something quite interesting in these tins. So I'm going to go through it, we're going to build it. I don't think it's going to take me personally too long, but I know a lot of people watch these types of channels, and you're always marveling at how we do these sort of things. Well, with a kit like this, you're able to do some of the basic stuff yourself. You know, we've got a set of hands, look. That will be the dial in there. We have a couple of rotors, actually. They've sent me some different types of rotors. I like this this round one, actually. I've never seen one like that before. More on that later on. And then in here we've got the crystal and the case back and the bracelet. So it's quite straightforward, and the movement, of course, which is an NH35. So from this little kit, I'm just going to put the dial and hands onto the movement. We're going to shorten the stem by the looks of things, and then press in the crystal. It has come with a little kit, but as I am a little bit more advanced on the watchmaking front, I'd much prefer to use my own tools. But there's enough in here to do most of the work. The one bit they seem to have sort of not figured out really is the fact that I've got a crystal to press in, and they haven't sent a crystal press. So if you were going to use Namoki Mods for something, you need to make sure that your crystal is in the case. So yeah, we're going to see if there's any pitfalls along this kit as well. It's not just pure promotion. I'm going to evaluate whether I think it's any good. So right, I'm going to get everything out of the wrappers, and then we'll crack on. Alright, we've got it all out. Look at the dial. Just look at this dial. That's absolutely beautiful. I love the colour. That's going to look really cool. As you can see, it is this square case, which is, I've got Seikos like this from the 70s. It's really, really nice. The case itself finished very well. I'll do some better shots of this when it's built, of course, so you can see it, and you can judge for yourself, because when you look on the website, basically where the money's at is the cases and the bracelets. They're the ones that cost, you know, $100, $200 or more. They charge quite a bit for an NH35 movement. Of course, you could buy a watch and just, you know, just use the movement, so to speak. But yeah, you know, it's the world's your oyster with this company, that's for certain. I've got my finger cots on. Now, normally nowadays, I only tend to wear ones on my index fingers because I don't tend to touch movements. But on this occasion, I'll put them all on. Now, I don't like finger cots. They tend to strangulate my fingers. So just a little quick tip. I get a little pair of wire cutters. I cut through the plastic ring there, and that releases it. You can actually peel these off as well, should you want to, he says. There we go. Looks a bit scruffy, but they're one-time use, and it just helps basically that I don't have strangulated fingers, which happens to me all the time. I probably bought the wrong size, in all fairness. But there we go. Every video I try and give you a bit of a tip, and that's one for this one. This movement has come with a rotor on it, and if you're going to assemble a watch, certainly like this, and you're going to put the dial on, realistically you want to take that rotor off, because if you're putting it on a cushion to do it or something like that, the movement's just going to keep moving around, and certainly when it comes to putting the hands on and things, that is not ideal. So here's the movement. It is the NH38, which is just the date only. And then when we look at the dial, if I just swap them over, turn the dial over, we have 4 dial feet on this one, and all of Namoki Mods kits come with different dial feet configurations, and that's all to do with where the window is going to be for your crown, so to speak. So here, of course, we've got the 3 o'clock position, so we have to then kind of judge which feet are going in. Now, they're only friction fit on the NH movements. There is a hole just over there, and there's a hole over here. You just push them in, that's it. So you're just going to line it up like so, or roughly, because I can't put them in, of course. Let me just get that in focus. So we can see here that this top pin is going to be good to go in the hole, which is there. Ever so sorry, I'm trying to do this holding it. There, so there's the hole. So I need to take off the bottom one, and then down on the other side. So the other side, we're going to be taking this one off here. So I've marked it in pen. It's this one and this one. And you can use some snips, pairs of tweezers. They're basically just soldering on. Now my suggestion also would be to try and file those a little bit, which is what I'll do. A bit off camera probably. Just a little bit of emery or wet and dry paper or something. It might just fit now because of the recess that is on the plastic movement ring, but I'll just like to tidy it up. Okay, now that's done, just going to line the dial up. And literally push it on like so. So once we're happy with that, we now need to set the hand position. And all to do with that, seen it millions of times in my videos, we're just going to wind the watch until the date changes. Once the date's changed, I'm going to pull out the crown. That's going to hack the movement, and then I'm set to put the hands on. So now we just set the hands at 12, and that should then make the date change correct. That doesn't look too bad. And then the minute hand. There we go, we can push that one on now. And then lastly the second hand, which I'm predicting will be difficult. I can do second hands quite easily because I've done so many of them, but on anything aftermarket, it's not genuine Seiko, always seems to be a little bit tighter. And it's got a very long tube on this second hand, so lining it up is going to be quite a challenge, I feel. I don't ever do this using my microscope as a rule. Yes, it's kind of a challenge. So on these occasions, if this is always the stumbling block, if you've never done this before, second hands are evil until you get used to them. I would recommend using a bit of Rodico to hold it in place, and then gently try and push down with the hand press first, just to sort of key in a little bit, and then you can push it again harder once you're ready. So I'm just going to play around with that because clearly I'm going to make a hash of it otherwise. And there we go, the second hand is on and ticking, but it was pure evil, to be honest with you. That tube pipe is just a bit too tight, and I've had to put a lot of pressure on there to get it to key in. But there you go, that's always what I find with aftermarket hands. Case has got a nylon gasket here already for the crystal, but first of all got to just drop in the bezel. It's a very plain brush bezel on this one, goes very well with the case. Okay, let's get pushing the glass in. So it's really important to try and get your crystal as square as you can with these ones, because if they go in slightly on the crooked, they can snap. And I'm using barely any force right now. I think I've got the wrong die on. I think I need a bigger one. But it's going in slowly but surely. Right, so this one's going in slightly on the wonk, so it's all flush down here and it's not at the top. Now you get that a little bit, but this is a bit excessive, and if I put too much force on that now, it'll probably crack. And that one's going in a lot better. Okay, moving on now. I've had to size the stem, so I've just trimmed it down a little bit. You can buy pre-sized stems, I believe, in the kits. It doesn't come with any thread locker, and experience always says if you don't put thread locker on a crown, eventually it will come loose, and certainly when you're winding the hands in the direction of the same thread, it'll just unscrew itself. So I use Loctite 243. I guess to be fair to them, it's not easy to put a little bit of glue in a kit. And again, trying to marry these two up whilst looking at a microscope is always a bit of fun. But just need a little bit on like that. Thread locker is good enough, and you don't need like proper glue or anything like that. This just creates a bond as it goes in. So I'll just nip that up tight in this pin vise, wipe off the excess with a bit of Rodico, and then we can install it. And you've got a nice screw down crown on this one too, which is very difficult to do with finger cups on, but there we go. Right, now the crown is on. Still not going to show you the dial. I'm going to save that little bit. We should look at those two rotors and choose the best one. So we have this rotor, which looks quite fetching. I do like the pattern on that, and I like the finishing as well around the weighted part. It's very nice actually. My personal preference though, because it's so different, is this round one. Don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that before. That's really cool. I mean, you can't see the movement, but then the NH38 isn't the most prettiest movement in any case. The way this is going to work is it's weighted on more on one side than the other, so it's still going to spin round. So for the benefit of this video, this is the one I'm going to put on, and yeah, I think I'm going to enjoy it. And there we are, it is installed. Now I have wound the watch quite a bit, so there's a bit of resistance actually. But yeah, it's cool, definitely cool. Right, we have a display case back, of course. The watch does come with a gasket in a little plastic bag, and I'm wondering whether that's pre-greased or not. And alas, the gasket is not greased, so I'll put in my little container here. It's a silicone grease, just applies it like so. Grease, I mean, you could do it without grease anyway. So the grease just helps give a better bond and waterproofing ultimately, a better seal should we say. You just got to get it sitting nicely in the recess, and then we can put on the case back. In the kit, Namoki Mod supplies one of these case back tools. Really don't like them often. I would always prefer to use a sticky ball. I can't show that on camera. Sticky balls are very, very cheap. They're only a couple of quid, and they work so much better, a bit safer. Don't scratch anything. If you slip, it's just rubber. That's all. Here's said sticky ball. Sometimes it's good to inflate them a bit more. Gives you a bit more grip. And as you can see, that'll just turn nicely. Once you've got enough resistance, you go in for the final couple. There we are. And that'll be tight enough. Right, I'm going to give you a quick glance of the dial. Why not? There we are. I think that was pretty cool. Definitely nice in that case. We're going to do some proper outdoor shots in just a moment. Right, bracelet time. The bracelet on this is lovely. Look at the finish we've got on here, all nice and brushed. It's solid links. We have screw pins, which is going to be useful. Milled clasp, signed with the Namoki Mods logo, and it's an integrated one. The bracelets, I've got to take the spring bars out of here to put them on, and I've got to size it. Here we go on the Timegrapher then, lift angle 53 degrees. It's an out the packet NH movement. I've reviewed so many of these on the review channel. It's always potluck what you get, to be honest with you. Here we go. Well, the rate's good, isn't it? Amplitude seems a little bit low, but let's see if it will catch up. It's actually picking up my voice a little bit here, I think, as well. It's the beat error that's a little bit alarming, isn't it? I'm going to need to tighten that up, that's for certain. Yeah, sometimes with NH you get them absolutely spot on. Other times they're a bit like this, and I do wonder actually whether the ones that are a bit better are because the manufacturers actually tweak them, or the brand has tweaked them rather than it's just out the packet. I mean, Seiko tolerances are that wide. I think these things are something like plus or minus 40 seconds a day. But anyway, it's decent enough. Just that beat error niggles me. Recording this bit in edit, I've gone onto Namoki website to actually price all the parts up so we can tell you the full price of the watch. And lo and behold, get to the movement section and look, you've got factory standard at £49 or a regulated movement at 62. So clearly that's the answer to why my beat error is out. They've sent me the factory standard, which is fine by me because obviously I can tighten it up. But it's interesting that they have a regulated option should you want a better performing watch, I guess. So yeah, good to see. So here's the important part, the price. We're on the Namoki website. They are based in Singapore, okay? So I think they've got free shipping over $50, something like that. This watch is going to be well over that, so you'd get free shipping, but you might have to pay some import tax into your country when it arrives. There are some banners across here. Some of them are offering bundled deals and discounts, so you might be lucky and find something as well. We have got 9 items in the cart, and that should make up this watch. They are as follows. We have the stem, the case back, gasket, that really fancy rotor, which is £44, a lot of money, but you know, you go and find me another one. The NH35 movement, the display case back, the set of hands, that beautiful dial. I love the dial on this. The case, so the case is a package. You get the case, you get the crown, you get the bracelet as well, all as one bundle. Also comes with the crystal and the gasket. Now, I did complain in the video about fitting the crystal and that really you should buy something with the crystal fitted. Real big faux pas from me. And yeah, you've got to fit the chapter ring first. You can order a chapter ring. We've got this one here, £17. They have loads of different chapter rings. You can really make this watch your own. But of course, you're going to have to put that in before you put the glass in. So if you were going for this particular model, that's something you've got to take into consideration. Anyway, I've cleared that up. Here's the price, £365 for all of that. And that's about, I think, just under $500 plus maybe some tax. Is that representing good value? I think it actually is, to be honest with you. This watch is really cool. You're going to see it in a minute, and I hope you like it as much as I do. All right. The whole idea with this mod in it's a massive community, but you know, you can just come on here and buy a few parts, or you can completely make a custom watch, and it's going to come in and around that kind of price, I would think. And you're making your piece unique, aren't you, in many respects? And what a load of fun for that. You know, a lot of you guys watch these videos that we do as restorers and things, all vintage watches, and you want to have a go, but you with something like this, you're going to be able to build a watch, do some basics, and actually have a running watch at the end of it, guaranteed. And that can set you on the way to your watchmaking journey. So I think it represents fairly decent price. You let me know in the comments if you feel different. With all that said, let's now show you what it looks like, because it's ace. So let's start with the wrist shot. I've got a 7-inch wrist, 18 centimeters. Yeah, I'm left-handed, so I'll wear it on my right, but that's what it looks like. Now you have a guess at what the case width is, or the diameter. What does that look to you? About 38, 40 millimeters perhaps? Let me know what you think. That is actually 36 millimeters. It doesn't look it, does it? Because this is that retro futurism TV watch coming out of the 70s, when they sort of broke tradition from just normal round watches and went to square watches like this. And this is what I really like, a retro looking watch. It's kind of a bit futuristic, and that's what this has got for me in spades. I love that ladder bracelet. It does pinch your hairs a little bit, but I've got used to that. And it's just got loads of presence. I can't believe it's 36 millimeters, to be honest with you. This is coming in at 11 mil thick. The thickness do depend on what type of case back you have as well. You'd never really want to swap that from the bracelet, so there's no really point in talking about putting different straps on it and things like that. But yeah, great thing. And you could make that look your own again with all of the different bits and bobs that they have. So you could really knock it out of the park, should we say. When I turn it over, that's the display case back. Yeah, you can't see the movement, but then I just like that rotor. I think it's really interesting. What I did find, actually, and I'll put some shots up now, on the site, they have bridge plates that have got perlaging on them, different types of textures and finishes, which I've never seen before. And that's definitely a way to spruce up an NH35 movement. There is a bit of loom on this as well, and you can actually pick which colour loom you want as well, which is quite handy. It does fade fairly quickly. The camera doesn't pick it up after a while, but you can see it. It's not the best loom by any stretch, but it's there. So at this point, I'd like to thank Namoki Mods, not just for sending the watch to me, but for their patience. Believe it or not, I've had this watch for over 8 months, and I've only just built it. And these guys have not complained or anything. We had an agreement that I'd film it, but that's as much as he got. There's no money changes hand or anything. I get to keep the watch, which I'm very fortunate for. And yeah, thank you for their patience. I feel really guilty that it's taken me this long to get round to doing it, and that's in part why I've put it on the main channel. I think it's a bit of a crossover because I am showing some watch building as well as reviewing a product at the same time. So look, if you liked it, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more, leave your comments below because I read every single one. If you want to support me, then consider joining my Patreon. It really does help. I'll put my patrons up on the screen now. I have lots of discussions on there about what I'm doing, choosing the next videos, things like that. I've got lots of things planned. I've just got to get round to them. This is one of the projects I'm going to be filming next, which is an Inicar, and it's got some hairspring issues. So stay tuned for that. Also head over to timetees.com. That's where you can buy vintage watches, some new watches, and some merch from me. All of this helps to fund the projects and the tools for the channel. I've got a big announcement on tools coming very soon. It's costing me a lot of money, so I could really do with the support. Thanks very much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.